Today we're going to talk about going to thrift stores. It's one of the best places to find things. So join me as I talk about 5 different categories, 5 different departments you should go to when you're in the thrift store to find the best items. Category number 5, large illustrated books and magazines. When my seniors at the table, we are doing an activity. When we get finished, I like to, if I want them to stay at the table longer, connecting and socializing, I usually put out some either illustrated books, large books with a lot of pictures, travels to countries, foods, whatever their interest. Or I like to put out magazines. So, you can find both of these at a thrift store for a good price. So it's good to stock up on those, and especially the magazines, because if you're ever going to do a craft with collages, you may want magazines for your residents to cut out the items because it encourages them to use dexterity skills and making decisions and picking items to go on a collage. So that's a good project to do with when you get magazines. Category number 4 is going to be the toy department. Let me tell you why before you're like, oh, toys. No, it's more like, if you're doing doll therapy with your seniors with dementia or memory care, you might want some realistic looking dolls, for the ones that just perk up when they see babies. You can also find like animated dogs and cats and pets, sometimes talking birds. I love these. These are, because they're expensive when you buy them new. So if you can find them at a thrift store, that is a good find. You can get items with latches and beads. I forever and a day, I see the ones with the beads that they can slide, in different directions. And that is great for, hand-eye coordination, dexterity, tactile, sensory, just really great item to have at your facility. So here's one that I found. I found it at a thrift store, and it is lacing cards, and it looks practically brand new. And you can see I paid $1.50 for it, and I'm sure new it would have cost like, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks easily. So I definitely plan on using this with the seniors. I mean, it looks just brand new. Lacing cards are great for their hands and coordination, and I definitely recommend these if you can find them at your thrift store. Okay, moving on to category number 3. So board games and activities like this one, they're games. Games new are really expensive. We've all bought new board games are like $15, $20, $30. So you go to a thrift store and you're not gonna pay that much. This one was actually $3. So all the time I'm seeing Trivial Pursuit, Boggle, Scrabble, all of those games, Monopoly. All right, puzzles is another thing to look for at your thrift store. So puzzles, they can be expensive too, but you want to look at how many pieces of puzzles you want to get, how many pieces are in the box, when you're dealing with memory care. So if you're talking about memory care, you probably wouldn't want a 300-piece puzzle because it would cause more frustration than it would, benefit them. 36-piece puzzles are really good to have in your memory care. You should also have different levels of puzzles, because you're going to have different levels of residents too. So check out some puzzles when you go to the thrift store. Moving on to category number 2. So category number 2 is going to be the housewares department. And let me tell you why. It may surprise you actually, because if you're doing things with like life skills, you're having them do things like folding, towels, washcloths, those are expensive. You go to Walmart and get those expensive, and you don't want the cheapest ones. So check out going to a thrift store and get washcloths, pillowcases, things like that. Baby clothes. We do baby clothes because they love babies, and it brings conversation. I can be like, hey, isn't this cute? Did you put these kind of clothes on your kids? Did you ever use the snap ones or the zip ones? So it brings extra conversation there. You can get silverware, and you can get silverware trays. You can have them sort knives, butter knives, forks and spoons in the different compartments, and that's another good activity. I also look for trays for organizing, the plastic ones with the compartments. So those are really good for putting beads in. If you're doing necklaces, you can use them just for crafts in general, or just sort items, sort anything. You're also looking for like yarn, because you can unroll it, and you can ask them to help you roll it up. So this is another item you should pick up is yarn, because we know yarn is also expensive when you buy it new. All right, thanks for sticking around. We are to category number 1. Category number 1 is items for a memory box. Now, if you don't have memory box at your senior facility, then I recommend them, especially for memory care. So these come in really handy for seniors with dementia. You can use them one-on-one, you can use them in a group. So there are many themes you can also have, like if you want to do a kitchen one, in the garden one, traveling. It's just so this is a good place to go if you're looking for items for your memory boxes. Like for instance, the kitchen memory box that we made recently, I found the wooden spoons, the whisks, the bowls, the cookbooks, all of those things, an apron. So it made for a good conversation in my memory box. And then also you can check out my memory box PDF files in my store. I'll leave a link in the description below. I was able to add fruit and vegetable flashcards, as well as just flashcards in general, you know, with pictures of vintage kitchens and questions, specific questions I could ask. And if you haven't checked out my video on 3 reasons to make a memory box, I will put that at the end of this video. You could click on that and go see that video also. Well, this wraps up this video. I appreciate you sticking around, and I hope you got some valuable information out of it. Happy thrifting, and definitely give this a thumbs up if you got something out of it. All right, see you next time.